We, the consumers, want everything to be smaller, smaller, smaller. So the gadgets are getting tinier and tinier, but our fingers are essentially staying the same size. So the problem is, as you add more features, where are they going to go? Where are you going to stick them? You only have so many design tools. You can do buttons, you can do sliders, pop-up menus, sub-menus. But if you're not careful about how you choose, you wind up with this. And we've arrived at the age of interface matrices, where there's so many features and options, you have to do 2 dimensions, a vertical and a horizontal. Part of the art of designing a simple, good interface is knowing when to use which one of these features. So here is the log off dialog box for Windows 2000. There are only 4 choices. So why are they in a pop-up menu? It's not like the rest of the screen is so full of other components that you need to collapse the choices. They could have put them all out in view. Here's Apple's take on the exact same dialog box. Already we can see that Apple and Microsoft have a severely divergent approach to software design. Microsoft's approach to simplicity tends to be, let's break it down. Let's just make it more steps. There are these wizards everywhere. So what is the answer? How do you pack in all these features in a simple, intelligent way? I believe that consistency when possible, real-world equivalence, trash can, folder when possible, label things mostly. But I beg of the designers here to break all of those rules if they violate the biggest rule of all, which is intelligence. Now, what do I mean by that? I'm going to give you some examples where intelligence makes something not consistent, but it's better. If you are buying something on the web, you are supposed to put in your address, and you're supposed to choose what country you're from. Okay, there are 200 countries in the world. We like to think of the internet as a global village. I'm sorry, it's not one yet. It's mainly like the United States, Europe, and Japan. So why is United States in the U's? You have to scroll like 7 screens full to get to it. Now, it would be inconsistent to put United States first, but it would be intelligent. This one's been touched on before, but why in God's name do you shut down a Windows PC by clicking a button called Start? Here's another pet one of mine. You have a printer. Most of the time, you want to print 1 copy of your document in page order on that printer. So why in God's name do you see this every time you print? It's like a 747 shuttle cockpit. And one of the buttons at the bottom, you'll notice, is not print. Now, I'm not saying that Apple is the only company who has embraced the cult of simplicity. Palm is also, especially in the old days, wonderful about this. I actually got to speak to Palm when they were flying high in the 90s. And after the talk, I met one of the employees. He says, nice talk. And I said, thank you. What do you do here? He said, I'm a tap counter. I'm like, you're a what? He goes, well, Jeff Hawkins, the CEO, says, if any task on the Palm Pilot takes more than 3 taps of the stylus, it's too long, and it has to be redesigned. So I'm the tap counter. So I'm going to show you an example of a company that does not have a tap counter. This is Microsoft Word. Okay, when you want to create a new blank document in Word, it could happen. You go up to the File menu and you choose New. Now, what happens when you choose New? Do you get a new blank document? You do not. On the opposite side of the monitor, a taskbar appears, and somewhere in those links, by the way, not at the top, somewhere in those links is a button that makes you a new document. Steve Jobs had always believed in simplicity and elegance and beauty. And the truth is, for years, I was a little depressed because Americans obviously did not value it because the Mac had 3% market share, Windows had 95% market share. People did not think it was worth putting a price on it. It turns out I was wrong, right? Because the iPod came out, and it violated every bit of common wisdom. Other products cost less. Other products had more features. They had voice recorders and FM transmitters. The other products were backed by Microsoft with an open standard, not Apple's proprietary standard. But the iPod won. This is the one they wanted. The lesson was simplicity sells, and there are signs that the industry is getting the message. And if you're among the people who create this stuff, easy is hard. Pre-sweat the details for your audience. Count the taps. Remember, the hard part is not deciding what features to add. It's deciding what to leave out And best of all, your motivation is simplicity sells. Thank you very much.
Here, here.